Welcome. Happy Monday. Happy Libra Lunar Eclipse. Feel free to say hello. I'll see who's here. I'll say hi to everyone. I have a story to share, and then we'll hop right into the astrology. Christine says, greetings, tribe. Hello, Nancy and Mimi. Greetings, Jackie and another Jackie. Hi, Misty. Hello, Elena and Heather. Hello, Lisa, Nicole, Deborah. Good morning, Becky. Hello, Lucy. If this is your first time with me, my name is Jacqui Mancuso. I'm joining you guys from Northern Illinois, and today we're here to talk about the full moon lunar eclipse in Libra that already happened this morning, but it's okay. The energies are going to be with us for quite some time. And then after we talk about the astrology, I'm going to use a couple different oracle decks to pull some cards for a group reading, which are always just incredibly synchronistic with what all of us have going on. So that's why people keep coming back, right? Good morning, Angie. Grand rising from Goddess, sending love, peace, and abundance. Thank you. Good morning, Violet. Patty, happy full moon. Good morning, Janelle and Michelle. If you guys are one of my OGs or just regulars, or if you were with us on Friday I referenced that I had a Taekwondo tournament over the weekend, so I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update on that. I was hopefully underprepared because of just the stuff that I have going on in my life. I wasn't training as much as I wanted to. And I competed in 2 events. The first event is forms. So if you're not familiar with Taekwondo, forms are like choreographed solo fight scenes. So the intention is that like you're acting out as if you're doing a fight, but no one's there with you. So in forms, that's the one where like you have to practice and memorize and all this stuff, and turn of events, whatever. But I did get second place in forms, so here's a silver medal for forms. And then the second event, it was like the last thing of the whole day. I got there at 8:15 a.m. and I was there. I think this last match happened at like 5 p.m. Sparring is my other event, and that's when you put on your gear and your pads, right? And then you kick people. I'm more scrappy than I thought. This is a gold. This is a gold for sparring, so watch out. I'm just kidding. It's a really nice expression of anger is what I found in sparring. I've done 2 tournaments and I've gotten a gold in sparring both times, and I didn't think I was a fighter, so don't underestimate anyone. Oh, here's Piston. Good boy. Thank you guys for your congratulations. I just wanted to share with you everything that happened. I'm looking forward to doing more tournaments. They're definitely super fun. That's it. And you considered not going. So impressive, Melinda. Yeah, it's take my, how do I want to call that? I don't know, ballsiness. If you feel underprepared for something, who cares? Still go at it. Sparring dog champ with a dog named Piston. Nicole says, my daughter competed as well this weekend. She placed first in group form, second in solo form, and third in sparring. Nice. She doesn't happen to be in Northern Illinois, does she? Was she at the same tournament as me? Nancy used to watch my son at Taekwondo, got his black belt at 9. Yeah, it's a fun... The martial arts go very hand in hand with the spirituality aspect of astrology, right? Yeah. April says, in Japan, considered balance and preparedness. Yeah. Oh, Nicole, you're in Minnesota. Interesting. There was a girl from Minnesota. That's who I beat in sparring. She drove 6 hours to come to our tournament. I don't know why. Anyway, that's okay. Today we're here to talk about the Libra lunar eclipse, full moon, that already peaked. So our full moon our full moon Libra lunar eclipse, that's a mouthful, it peaked at 2:01 a.m. Central Time. But these energies, so eclipse energies honestly reverberate for like 6 months. They are major turning points in our worlds. So this lunar eclipse has the moon at 5 degrees of Libra. The south node is at 15 degrees of Libra. That's what makes this an eclipse. The moon and the south node are super close. And then the sun is over at 5 degrees of Aries. The first step that you would want to take if you want to make this eclipse super personalized to your chart is you would find 5 degrees of Libra in your natal chart, and you would see which house that falls into. So if you're a brand new astrologer, just keep in mind that the zodiac wheel moves counterclockwise. So the first thing is to look for the Libra glyph on the outside of your chart. It's a horizontal line with like the sun peeking over the horizon on top. And then knowing that there's 30 degrees in each sign, going counterclockwise, you're going to look for the first sixth of the Libra chunk. And then follow that to the middle of your chart, and that'll show you which house it's in, if you know the time of your birth. If you don't know the time of your birth, this house stuff can get you in trouble. So for the sake of time today, I can't go through all the houses right now, but there is an abundance of information all over the internet in regards to the houses. And with astrology, I always recommend taking what resonates and leaving the rest. You guys know I'm a self-studied astrologer, so I learned from books and internet resources and, putting together the motley crew of all this astrology information. And I learned it by taking what resonated with me, and I left the rest. If you try to learn it all at once, you're going to drive yourself insane. So knowing which house this Libra lunar eclipse falls into within your chart can give you some information about what area of your life is receiving these eclipse energies the most. So eclipses are monumental, fated times in our lives. The nodes of the moon, which is what makes this an eclipse because the moon is within 10 degrees of the south node, the nodes are called the nodes of fate. So this full moon eclipse is a fated ending. Something is culminating. There's a part of something that is done. You're being done with a part of something. And this is happening in the sign of Libra, which is linked to one-on-one relationships. So in my opinion, this Libra lunar eclipse represents being done with a pattern of behavior that you may have been acting out within your one-on-one relationships that you thought was serving you, but this eclipse will probably make it known that it's time to throw in the towel with that type of behavior. So I'll give more explanation to specifics, but I'm already seeing this play out in my life, specifically in my relationship with my husband. And I won't go too far into detail, but what has been coming to light in my life is that there's a lot of stuff that I was unknowingly projecting onto him. I wish he was more this way. I wish he would be more like this. I want him to act like this, but he acts like this. And all of those projections came down to me not accepting or not allowing a part of myself to be authentic. And I was almost waiting for him to rescue that part of me. But it's really up to me to create the life I desire. Violet says, I do that. Yeah, I'm sure I've been doing it my whole life, but this lunar, I keep saying lunar eclipse. This Libra lunar eclipse is super highlighting all of these things that I've been projecting onto this person. Like, how come you're not giving me everything that I want? And this is helping me realize, well, I'm supposed to be filling my own needs, and then he's just a bonus, right? Lisa resonates with that. Bonnie, you don't say. Becca, is this different than surrender? This is very closely linked to surrender. There's steps to this process. And I guess it might make sense the more I talk about what I have prepared to talk about, but lunar eclipses, full moon, south node energy, it is an ending. It is a culmination. It's a chapter closing. It's moving on. So yes, there is an air of surrender. But what I'm feeling specifically with this eclipse is that there's like groundwork that we're responsible for. There's something that we're meant to look for with Pluto, and I'll get to that at the end. Maybe we'll be leaner too. That's my goal. That's funny. Kelly, happy birthday. There could be significance depending on what your chart looks like. The sun isn't always going to be in the same spot exactly on your birthday every year because the sky doesn't follow the same Gregorian calendar that we do. So I'm not sure. It could just be not a coincidence because I don't believe in coincidences, but how cool that this is like the start of your next year. This could be like a huge letting go so that you can walk into this next year of your life in a beautiful way. So these realizations that I was having about my own part in what I'm projecting onto my husband, these came after some deep reflection because I had been studying this chart. I prepared very in detail notes for my Embody Astrology crew, and we had our meeting, what was it, last Thursday? We had our meeting about this lunar eclipse, and we went deep, deep, deep into it. So I noticed that I do use astrology as a catalyst to get me thinking about what's going on with my own life. So that's why I really appreciate that you guys come to these astrology talks, because the more self-aware you are, the better choices you can make and the better choices we can make for everyone, right? So this full moon is occurring 10 degrees away from the south node. The south node represents what we are meant to be done with, karmic endings, things that have once served us, that may have helped us through some things, but they're stale. They've served their purpose. So the south node in Libra represents behavior patterns of people-pleasing, acting how you assume the other wants you to act, holding your tongue, doing whatever is necessary to not rock the boat. So there may have been times in your life that you needed to act that way to get yourself through a time of survival. This eclipse, we have the moon near the south node. The sun is supercharging that north node in Aries. The north node is linked to our current path of greatness. I call the north node our personal North Star. And at this time, the North Star is in the sign of the individual. This is what I want because this is who I am. And as uncomfortable as it might be, the universe wants us to overcome our fear of selfishness. How come everyone else in our lives gets to be comfortable, but we put ourselves last? Why are we so afraid of speaking up for what it is that we need? This is what eclipse season this year is helping us work through. In tandem with the upcoming Mercury retrograde, we're going to have a couple hot months of realizing that we get to be the main characters in our story more strongly than we've known before. And I want to mention one last thing about this lunar eclipse is the beautiful trine from Pluto at 1 degree of Aquarius interacting with the full moon at 5 degrees of Libra. This is the first time in our lifetime that a Libra full moon has received a trine from Pluto in Aquarius. And of course, it's happening on a lunar eclipse. So trines occur when planets are 120 degrees apart. This is harmonious energy, it's supportive, it feels like a symphony playing a major chord. Pluto is interesting. Pluto is the destroyer. He shows us the dark underbelly of things. He brings up what has been hiding in the shadows, all for the purpose of transformation. So Pluto, as well as all the other planets, works with divine timing. He knows when you need to see which shadows, because he knows by accepting all parts of yourself, all parts of your situation, you have the tools you need to experience the most growth. Pluto is supporting the culmination of a pattern of behavior that you've been using within your relationships, your one-on-one relationships, but it's something that you may have buried. This pattern is being enacted as a means to heal a part of yourself that may not have been addressed yet. So if you allow Pluto to show you what he's found, if you're willing to just look at the shadow of the situation, 10 times out of 10, it's not as bad as we remember it to be. That's been my experience with all sorts of shadow work. Everything is always much more scary until you actually dip your toe into it. And actually, if you guys have ever been in any sort of competition, like a traveling competition, whether you were on like a high school team where you got bused to a place or whatnot, this is a story that my Taekwondo master told me while we were waiting at the tournament, and it makes total sense about this Pluto showing you a shadow that's time to address. So the story that he told, and it's so metaphorical to shadow work, he would be on the bus going to his wrestling tournaments in high school. And as soon as he turned the corner and the school was right there, his nerves would flare up. So as soon as we're aware of what shadow is coming to light, what shadow is being addressed, what traumatic memory is triggering our behavior right now, our nerves go up. And then he said he would get inside the school and it would still be a little nerve-wracking, like, okay, hang on, let me get my bearings. Let me make sure I know which mat I'm competing on. Let me find the bathroom. He says as soon as he finds the bathroom, he's good to go. And then once he has his bearings, he sits down, puts his music in, and he's chill. He knows he can relax. He's there. And I interpreted that much like shadow work, right? You see the school, you see the shadow, and you're like, I don't want to address that. I don't want to go inside those doors. But then you start to get your bearings. You start to put yourself back in that situation. Okay, who was here? How old was I? Who was doing what? Who was thinking what? Who was feeling what? And then before you know it, it's super comfortable. And you're like, oh, I've been here before. I've done this before, but now I can change it. Now I have more emotional intelligence to look at this. So I wonder if that helps, that analogy helps at all with looking at shadows and addressing them, not running from them. Fear is so big. I think it's an illusion. Fear is definitely an illusion. So we're going to use 2 different decks today to ask 2 different questions. The first deck I want to use is the good old Moonology Oracle cards. And what I want to ask of these cards, I want these cards to help us identify the patterns of behavior in one-on-one relationships that are ready to change. So that's the general question we're asking for this group reading. Help us identify the patterns of behavior in one-on-one relationships that are ready to change. Tam says, good question. Thanks, Tam. So this is going to be a group reading. Feel free to send your energy into this deck, and you can connect with the energies of the moon. You can connect to your highest self, source, God, your spirit guide, an animal, whatever highest energy you'd like to connect with. Help us identify the patterns of behavior in one-on-one relationships that are ready to change. So if this is your first time with me and you've never seen my reading before, I always allow 3 cards to fall out of the deck for us that will answer our question. And then I will show you the backs of the cards. So you're going to see the same lunar image 3 times, but I ask you to tune into your intuition, especially on a full moon, heightened lunacy. The moon is connected with intuition. And what does it mean? What kind of intuition are you looking for? Sometimes a certain card will make you feel a certain type of way, and that could just mean that that card holds a stronger personal message for you. If you feel absolutely nothing when I hold up the cards, don't doubt yourself. It doesn't mean your intuition is broken. It just means that the whole reading is equally as important for you to hear today. But sometimes people will notice their animals react when I hold up a certain card. We had Gemma. I don't know where she went. The dogs want us to have a solo reading today, I guess. Sometimes if you cough or you have another bodily function, that could represent that a certain card holds a message for you. Birds might fly at your window. Your house might creak. You might twitch or have an itch or something. Nope. One more. Help us identify the patterns of behavior in one-on-one relationships that are ready to change. And then sometimes you just know. You just know a number between 1 and 3, and you're like, yep, I don't know why I keep thinking that number, but that is mine. That is for me. And trust it. And again, if you feel nothing, just go with the whole reading. I saw Anique had a question. She said, can you repeat what we look for in our natal chart? Find Libra, what house is it in? Then what planets are in that house or in Libra? So Anique, you're on the right track. So first find 5 degrees of Libra, the beginning of Libra, moving counterclockwise. And then just look for which house that is, because the full moon is at 5 degrees of Libra. So by finding that point in your chart, you can see where this full moon is occurring in your chart. So that'll show you this full moon is culminating something within this house. If you do have planets within 5 degrees either way of 5 degrees of Libra, so if you have planets from 0 to 10 degrees of Libra, this full moon is interacting with those as well. But all I recommended in the beginning was to find which house holds 5 degrees of Libra. Excuse me. Happy birthday to Mary as well. Jenny's very curious about that card that jumped out first. All right, guys, I'll show you the backs of the 3 cards, and then let us know in the chat which cards are resonating with you guys. Was there a question about the question? Here, I'll just put it in the chat. Help us identify the patterns of behavior in one-on-one relationships that are ready to change. Ready? Here's the back of card number 1. The back of card number 2. And the back of card number 3. Let us know which cards are resonating with you. And just in case, I'll show them one more time. This is for validation, not to change your mind. Don't second guess your intuition too much. Here's the back of card number 1. The back of card number 2. And the back of card number 3. Interesting. All right, I saw a little bit earlier, Jackie said she's working with 1. Heidi, 2 is mine today. Chanel, 2. Heather, 2. Lisa, 1. Michelle, 2. Jennifer, all 3. Mary, 3. Christy, 2. Violet, 3. Deborah, 2 all the way. Jenny, 1. Christy, 3. Angie, 1. Mimi, 2 and 3. Mackenzie, 2. Win, 1. Asa, 2. Heidi, 2. Claire, 2. Sarah, 3. Goddess, 3. Anique, 1 and or all. We'll see if I like 1 and then I'll decide. Kelly, 3. Carrie, 1. Carrie, I saw your email. I haven't had a chance to respond yet. Tolkien 1 and 2, even seems like I might have a message in all. Cool. Michelle 2, Nadia 2, Leah all, Nicole 1, Crystal 3, then 2, Yvonne 1 and 3, Patty 3, Eleanor 3, Jackie 3, Lucy 2 and 3, Patty 1, Holly 1, Goddess 3 or all, Becca 2 both times, Rachel Hiccup for 2, Kelly 3, MK 9, Misty 3, Nancy 3, Christine 2, 3, 1 in that order. Cool. No clarity going on with all. That's all right, Athena. Kat 3, Jonna all, AJ 1 and 3, Stephanie 1 and 2. Oh, that was your house, MK. Oh, okay. I was like, you know what? If 9 is resonating with you, just go with it. April 1 and 2, Melinda 3, but I'm thinking maybe all. Greg, I guess all 3. Having trouble focusing. Interesting. Crystal, if you don't have planets in that house, that's okay. That still means that the lunar event is happening in that house of your chart. Okay. Bonnie, all, I guess. April 3. Greg had a rough weekend. All right, so help us identify the patterns of behavior in one-on-one relationships that are ready to change. Here's card number 1. Card number 1 is from the new moon in Aquarius, and this asks us to bring love into the situation. So what patterns of behavior in one-on-one relationships are ready to change? Aquarius is all about progress and modernity. So this is time to move forwards. The new moon in Aquarius card means no looking back. Change is on its way, and it could come quickly. Whether you get the change you want depends both on whether you believe you can have it and how much you're relying on others to bring it to you. This card comes with a suggestion that you may need to do things independently, on your own. But be loving, not too pragmatic. Time may be of the essence when this card comes up. Aquarius energy has an electric feel to it. Certainly, there is a sense that you need to let go of the past and move towards your future as soon as possible. Explore the idea that it's not what you know, but whom you know. You need to be more detached from the situation. Thinking outside the box will bring the solution. More pragmatism is called for. Improve your karma by doing some charitable work. Aquarius is the sign of invention, modern advances in technology, and humanity. Its energy is a little brittle. It's individual and scientific even, and relatively emotionally detached. Many people think Aquarius is a water sign because the Aquarius symbol is the water bearer, but it's actually an air sign and is far more about intellect than the emotional water signs, as in this card, no matter when you draw it. Dropping convention works well with this energy. So I'm hung up on a couple things that this card has said. At first it says don't be too pragmatic, and then it says more pragmatism is called for. Maybe that'll be clarified later in the reading. But the patterns of behavior might be overly relying on your emotions, not using enough logic, not using enough pragmatism, but not too much. This is about finding that delicate balance of feeling into your emotions, but not being swept away by them. So the pattern of behavior that is ready to change could be dwelling on the past. Aquarius is all about the future. Aquarius represents the future, moving forward. So emotionally dwelling on parts of one-on-one relationships that have happened in the past and almost expecting them to be repeated. Consciously or subconsciously, just expecting this person has wronged me in this way before. That means they are this type of person. That means they're always going to do XYZ behavior. modernity. Thank you, Jackie. Bonnie says we were talking about a lot of those things Friday. That fits as your North Node sign, Nancy. Cat, is the crow back? It hasn't been crows, it's been robins for a couple weeks. There's robins, but yeah, crows have been around. Tam, this card was on page 62 and 63. Greg, the let go of the past was good to hear. Athena, moving into love. Jenny, for me, this is so spot on. It's crazy. Thank you. You're welcome. Kelly, what if the other person is not willing to change their patterns? Oh, this is such a touchy question. Were you here in the very beginning? How I was... It all comes down to us. It all comes down to us. The other person is just a mirror of us. So anything that you say, this person isn't doing this, check yourself. Pull it right back on yourself. And I'm not doubting or negating, Kelly, if you've done any of your own work. It might just be a signal that there's more to do. I talked about how this eclipse so far has been bringing up how I've been projecting a lot of stuff onto my husband. I wish he was this way. My life would be easier if he acted like this, right? My life would be easier if he had these qualities, but he doesn't. And so I took a deep reflection into myself and realized, hi, Darla. I realized that I'm blocking myself receiving the qualities that I wish he had more of. I was blocking myself from taking in the type of love I wanted. He was giving it in his way. I was just pinholing the way I wanted to receive it. That's what I'll say about that. If you're in the emotion of love, it releases all the other emotions in the way of logic. Interesting, Athena. Melinda, oh my gosh. Tolkien, yeah, it really does come down to that. Accept how it is or move on. It seems so harsh. I'm so compassionate with relationship stuff. My moon is in Libra, guys. I love a good quality relationship. Greg, a large portion of my fears about the future are based on happenings from 15 years ago. Yeah, the past is the past. That was 15 years ago. Why bring your negative past into your future if it doesn't have to be there? Oh, Kelly, it's a parent relationship. Yes, that is very, very difficult. April, this resonates. I pulled an oracle card from a deck this morning. The qualities I dislike in others are disowned parts of my shadow. April, that is full moon Libra lunar eclipse energy to a T. To a T. I think that can be our quote of the day. The qualities I dislike in others are disowned parts of my shadow. Yes. Wow. Thank you. Two robins just flew right at the window. I thought they were going to come in the house. All right. Card number 2, help us identify which other patterns of behavior in one-on-one relationships are ready to go. Card number 2 brings us the full moon in Taurus. Your dreams need a practical plan. Sometimes you need to weave a bit of magic, and sometimes you need to be practical. And sometimes you need to find a combination of the two. This card suggests that this is where you are now. You need to use the laws of attraction to draw in what you want by imagining it, expecting it, welcoming it, but you need to balance that with taking down-to-earth steps toward your goals. This isn't about wishing on the moon and hoping for the best. It's about making something like a list of bullet points about how to achieve your dreams. And if you're asking about money, this card heralds a change of financial fortunes, depending both on your past actions and what you're expecting, and therefore attracting. This card offers a way to attune to the moon. You can write down 10 things that you know are wonderful about you. And just because we're using this reading to ask about our patterns in one-on-one relationships, You can use that to write down 10 things you know are wonderful about the person you're having issues with. Write down 10 things you know are wonderful about the way you approach relationships. Laziness could explain your current situation. If so, change that and own it. Chasing money doesn't work. You need to chase a dream. Jealousy or envy create negative energy and attract negativity. And this card says that more exercise is called for. The full moon in Taurus is a time to get back to earth, to get grounded, to work through any negative feelings you've been dealing with, and to find balance between being passionate and being overly intense. Money issues may come to a head at the time of the full moon in Taurus, but you can take this card as a sign to pay more attention to your cash flow no matter when you draw it. So this card's all about money. I wonder if you guys have some money things that are impacting your one-on-one relationships these days. But okay, so help us identify the patterns of behavior that are ready to change in one-on-one relationships. I feel like this card is telling us that it's time to stop being so la-la. There's two parts of manifestation. The dreaming part, the visualizing, the writing it down, the asking for it, the etheric spiritual way, and then the Taurus practical, where you actually have to change things in your life in order to call in what you're asking for. It is about co-creating. Morning Dove came right at my window. It is about co-creating with the universe. It's not about asking and then sitting back and waiting all the time. There's a very specific point in the process where you do that. But again, just using my life as an example, again, I've been asking the universe, I want to connect with my husband in different ways. I want this from my husband. I want him to realize all these parts of himself. And it's been happening, but I was waiting for it to happen in one specific way. So I had to get real with myself, and I had to ask myself, am I blocking it? Am I actually allowing him to show me he's making the changes I've been asking for him to make? I had to get practical. I had to check myself and make a change in order to bring it in. So the patterns of behavior that are ready to change, lofty goals without practical action. So appropriate right now, Michelle. Melissa, this is everything I've been working on. Deborah, 2 was my card all the damn way. Andrea, your ex owes you money. Cat loves doves. Goddess, it's saying Delulu is not the Salulu right now. Delulu is not the Salulu right now. Eddie, you mean my air sign needs grounding? You know, sometimes, 100% of the time, that's usually the answer. Sarah, yes, this is dead on. I wasn't even looking at the cards. Picked 3, and it's stepping on my toes. Interesting. Melissa got a nice raise right after she'd been worrying about a monthly payment I will no longer be getting. Love that. Everything always works out. Everything always works out, and it's up to you to allow it to work out. The more you sabotage with this mind, and the more you think, I'm not worth that, there's no way it could ever be this good, it's never been this good, so it can't get better, it's such a process. But when you let that go, and you just say, thank you, oh, this is coming for me, cool, thank you, then everything's great. Sarah, I'm doing all the manifesting, but lacking some of the action. And sometimes you do need to focus on one aspect of it, you know? So maybe over all this time, you've been learning how to call in what you want, how to identify what you want and ask for it. And now, you know, it's okay. It's okay that you haven't been doing the action because the message is coming today. The reminder is coming today. So it's your choice. Do you want to start putting more practical action into your one-on-ones? Athena, it's crazy how seeing different manifestations come in and don't look like what you think they would when you release control of the expectations. Yeah, I experience that in retrospect a lot. I'll ask for something, I'll do my part, then I'll let it go, and then months down the line, I'll be like, oh, that's right, I was asking for this, and it came in this way. I didn't notice it right away. Andrea, but I'll never get it back. With that mindset, you won't, but if you're okay with that, then that's acceptance. Jalissa, the birds probably see their reflection, they get hurt flying into window. I do. I have rainbow clings on my window. They're not flying into my window. They're just flying near the plants that are right in front of my window. Becca, do you think it's physical money or wealth in other forms? Great question. Taurus does represent physical, tangible resources. So Taurus is linked to physical, tangible money. However, you can interpret it in all different ways. Yes, Sarah, we do have a third card. So we're asking this deck to help us identify the patterns of behavior in one-on-one relationships that are ready to change. Card number 3 tells us to work through our fears. And this comes from the new moon in Scorpio. Remember we talked about Pluto today with this full moon? Pluto is helping us? Yeah, Pluto rules Scorpio. This card suggests a rebirth. You know what? So I have to say this. I don't have to say this. This card suggests a rebirth. Think about your situation as the phoenix that's rising from the ashes, as the birth, death, rebirth paradigm. That's what Scorpio energy is all about. Whatever you've been through, there's a new start ahead. It might be a little dark. It almost certainly won't be rainbows and unicorns, but it will be deep and transforming. This card also suggests that if you know you are magical, then this is the time to work your magic. It can also herald the start of a sexier time. If you've been experiencing something of a drought, and emotional intimacy is also on the menu. Scorpio is the sign that likes to go deep into the body, mind, and spirit. So when this card comes up, there's nothing superficial about what's coming your way. If you want to attune to the moon, this book says, have some sexy time. And then some more meanings for this card. Time to let go of a grudge you're holding. Move on from jealousy. The Taurus card also brought up jealousy. Stop being obsessive. Could it be that you're being paranoid? Make an investment. Scorpio is the sign of death and rebirth, magic, and shamans. Its energy is a little bit dark, occult, even scary. Not all of us like to face the shadow, but Scorpio demands it. In fact, it's through working through your dark side that you can get into the light. And the new moon in Scorpio, and the appearance of this card at any other time, suggests that you need to do that now. What pattern of behavior in one-on-one relationships is ready to change? Fear of the dark. Iron Maiden. Time to play that song. It's the fear. It's the fear of facing the fear that's been holding you back. Not wanting to go there, not wanting to look so deep at yourself, at the situation. But my goodness, if Pluto is not present in this reading, so what I was going to say right before I started speaking, Pluto rules Scorpio. Pluto is currently in Aquarius. And these are the bookend cards, and these are both the new moon cards. I'll describe the whole reading in a second. The middle card was full moon in Taurus, and I didn't mention, but Jupiter and Uranus are approaching their conjunction in less than a month in Taurus. And it plays into this full moon if you break things down deeper and deeper and deeper. So this reading makes complete sense with today's full moon in Libra. So let's see. Help us identify the patterns of behavior in one-on-one relationships that are ready to change. quit dwelling on the past emotionally, bring a little bit more logic, and remember that you can create the relationship that you desire. You've been doing a good job at intending what you desire, but now it's time to put the practical action into work. And maybe that practical action is facing your fears. Maybe that practical action is saying, maybe it is the shadow in myself that I don't want to look at that is sabotaging this relationship. What if? And not to say, what if I'm a terrible person and I'm ruining everything? It's not to put that woe is me energy on yourself. It's to say, what if I've been neglecting this thing that's glaring in my face that I haven't wanted to look at? What if I just look at it and I heal it, and then that brings me literally everything I've ever wanted? Because that's usually what happens. Wowza. We're going to pull one more card from one more deck. Christine, this entire reading really hit home. It comes down to yourself. Every relationship issue that you have, I've been learning this so much more deeply. It's honestly never the other person's fault. It all comes down to, well, I don't want to say that. I'm saying that loosely because everything is a mirror. Everything is just an energy. You're the main character in your story. So if there's something that you don't like, it's up to you to address it, communicate it, do something about it within yourself. And honestly, what I've found is that the more I work with myself, the more I learn to love and accept myself, my shadows, my shortcomings. Other people's beef doesn't come to me. It doesn't impact me. It's like they're doing it, but it's not affecting my life. I hope that makes sense. Can you guys relate at all? Crystal says activating main character energy. Yeah. Sarah, for some reason I couldn't focus on the first card and everything you said about the first card, but the second and third was dead on, hit home. Yeah, let's see. So I'm really, can the relationship be with yourself, Heather? 100%. Thank you so much for asking that. Yes, this one-on-one relationship that we're talking about, it can absolutely be your relationship with yourself. A while ago, I was journaling about the 7th house of astrology, and I started dissecting it a little bit deeper and deeper and deeper. The 7th house is what's related to Libra, and Libra is where the full moon is today. So the 7th house, it can also represent, Libra can also represent your highest self's relationship with your shadow self, the duality of who you are coming into balance. The shadow accepting the light accepting the shadow. April, thank you so much for your donation. I appreciate it. I'll see you, Carrie. If you came in after 8:15 Central and you want to rewatch any part of this, it's going to be available on YouTube. So you can search my name on YouTube and check it out there. Is this the miracle card reading? Aren't they all? It needs to start there with self, Eddie. Absolutely. Heather, if you have the moon in Libra, is there any extra significance? I would say if your moon is between 0 and 9 degrees of Libra, yes. If it's farther, then I have my moon in Libra, but my moon's further out. Actually, the eclipse on April 8th, it's an Aries eclipse. It's all happening at 19 of Aries, but that will be opposite of 19 of Libra. So if your moon is between, math on the spot, 14 to 24 of Libra, then the April eclipse might impact you a lot more. Lydia, your moon's at 11. It's like right in between. This one can be impacting. I don't know. It's all, take what resonates and leave the rest. If this is hitting you and you're like, man, my moon's in Libra, this really feels like what I'm feeling right now, then go with it. It's all intuitive. This whole life is intuitive. There are no rules. You make your own rules. You condition yourself to your own rules. My YouTube channel is called Jacqui Mancuso. You can just search my name. And it's spelled interestingly, so I'm pretty easy to find all over the place. All right, second card from the Star Codes Astro Oracle. And this is so perfect. I pre-planned these questions. I want to say, what does Pluto want us to look at? That's what I want to ask this deck. What does Pluto want us to look at? And Pluto was prevalent in that first part. Love that. Bonnie, I'm pledging to remember to donate after. It's a discipline I'm trying to work on with Insight Timer teachers, even if it's only a few bucks. I'm only doing my best on my budget. I appreciate that, Bonnie. It's not about dropping the biggest coin in the bucket, but I appreciate the exchange of energy. I really do. Feel free to send your energy into this deck, asking, what does Pluto want us to look at? The last time we pulled from this deck, we got the South Node card, so it was sitting on the top, which is what's happening today with the lunar eclipse. And I didn't remember that until I chose this deck and I opened it. If you guys have been enjoying today's session, if you'd like to offer an energy exchange in the form of a donation, they're always appreciated. It does take a lot of my energy to come here and prepare these speeches and educational materials and then to throw it up on YouTube for you guys, and I'm not expecting anything, but it is very much appreciated. If the finance thing isn't for you right now, you can exchange your energy by sharing my message, sharing my videos, commenting on them, liking them, helping me with the algorithm, bringing people onto Insight Timer to hear me. Or if you think you're the crazy person in your group and no one knows what you're talking about, maybe just share it on a different social media site or something. I've been telling you guys about these astrology courses that I'm putting up once a month on Insight Timer. I have to make some changes to my first one. My second lesson wasn't long enough, so I have to redo that. So just bear with me. An Aries course is on the way. There's going to be a video version on my Patreon page. If I ever talk about stuff and then like you miss a few sessions and you want to catch up on what I'm doing, always head to my Linktree. Linktree is in my Insight Timer bio. And if you're watching the replay on YouTube, it's right underneath the video all the time. I try to make my links pretty like in your face so you can figure it out. That's it. That's it. Thank you. Goddess and Christy, Violet, another Christy, and Melinda. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Yes, Becca, thank you for asking that as well. Becca says, do you have another way we can donate to you? PayPal? Yeah, I know that a lot of you guys have been wary about donating on Insight Timer because of the Apple dealio and the taking from teacher donation dealio. There is a link in my Linktree all the way at the bottom for my PayPal. It's a PayPal donation button. So that is on the bottom of my Linktree. I appreciate the effort to go outside to support me. Very much appreciated. Roseanne and Rhonda, thank you guys. What's Violet talking about? I think I need to read up on that April 8th. Violet says, Insight Timer told me yesterday that it didn't matter if you donated during or after. Apple still takes 30%. Yeah, it's one of those things like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. It changes all the time. I don't have control over it, so I'm just going with it. I'm just going with it. But what does Pluto want us to look at during this? Is YouTube okay to donate without robbing you on the donation? Like doing a super thanks on YouTube, I think they take like 40 or 50% of that. I think, I don't know, I just switched my YouTube channel over to receive those super thanks, so I'm not sure. I guess what it comes, whatever. This is so dumb. PayPal is great. And I don't know, we'll see. I have so many opinions. Maybe I'll make a whole video on that so I could just address that all at once. What does Pluto want us to look at during this full moon lunar eclipse in Libra? Card number 26 is Neptune, and the message is vision. So actually, I'm going to look at the chart real quick because Neptune is playing with this. And how is he interacting with Pluto? Wow. Okay. So Pluto wants us to look at Neptune. Right now, Neptune is at 27 degrees of Pisces, which is an out of sign opposition to the full moon. So Neptune is putting pressure onto the full moon excuse me, Pluto is in an out of sign sextile to Neptune. Pluto at 1 degree of Aquarius, sextiling Neptune at 27 of Pisces. So this is a supportive aspect as well. So I just wanted to make note of that before we read the Neptune card. Neptune is playing a role in today's full moon. Pluto wants us to look at Neptune. Like a cool blue pearl floating in an inky sea, this planet symbolizes how we float in the ocean of the collective conscious. Neptune, the modern ruler of Pisces, takes about 165 years to tour the zodiac. On a practical level, it signals water, liquids, oils, and art supplies. On a challenging day, it shows how we avoid gritty reality, whether we escape through our imagination, addictions, or martyrdom. On a lovely day, Neptune speaks of spirituality, imagination, and psychic perception. Pray, meditate, intuit, use your divination, rest and dream. Activate the right side of your brain and step out of sequential logic into a sense of the infinite. Engage ceremony and ritual. Find a dream or vision and bring it back here to manifest. Because Neptune invokes both intuition and imagination, it can blur the boundaries between the two. It's all too easy to believe that what you want or what you are afraid of is in fact reality, which can make it easy for others to manipulate you by playing to your hopes and fears. Take each step with care. Working with Neptune is like walking in the fog. You can see the present moment clearly. It's just the future and the past that gets lost in the hopes and fears. If the world feels too harsh, or if you're feeling easily overwhelmed, tend to your sensitive antenna. Pray rather than worry. Neptune speaks of our psychic permeability, encouraging us to soak up our surroundings. Use that to your advantage and choose your surroundings carefully. Meditate with a group, tune into the trees, the earth beneath, the sky above, or sacred sites. Immerse yourself in whatever feeds you. The challenge of Neptune overwhelm can turn acceptance into passivity, imagination into illusion, sensitivity and the hunger for spirit into addiction. Watch for water damage. And the gift of Neptune, allow yourself to float, to swim in that great ocean of the collective consciousness. Soak up the presence of the divine soul. There is no separation between you and all sentient beings, between you and the realms of gods and spirits. This card's throwing me for a loop. Pluto wants us to look at our vision, our perception. How are we perceiving this one-on-one relationship? How are we perceiving this situation? So it seems like Neptune goes both ways. You can be disillusioned by going too far into imagination and delusion, or you can utilize Neptune to help you dream up what you desire. I guess keeping in mind that that's the first half, and then you need to take practical action in order to bring it into reality. So maybe Pluto wants us to look at where we've been deluged. Am I even saying that right? Where delusions have been upon us, where we're creating a persona of another person that doesn't actually exist because we want the validation that we're doing everything right. And sometimes it's okay to admit that you've been making a mistake. It's okay to admit, deluded, thank you, Gabrielle. It's okay to admit that you've been acting out a pattern of behavior that you thought was good. And it's okay to realize, okay, my behavior needs to change right now, because this other person isn't the bad guy that I thought they were. Neptune also links us to the collective consciousness, right? There is no separation between you and all sentient beings. So everything that this other person has that is a bad quality, you're just looking right in the mirror. Not to shame anybody, it's just truth. It just is. It just is. Everything that you look at in another person that you love and you adore and you're jealous of, that's all within you as well. We are all just mirrors for each other. We're all just permission slips to interact with ourselves. Melissa calling me out. Calling all of us out. It's Pluto. Lisa, thank you so much. This was so wonderful. You're very welcome. Sabrina, thank you so much for your donation. Christine came upon a beautiful tree yesterday and hugged it. Greg, sigh. This is my card today. April, Neptune, and Pluto. Wow. We're working a lot with the outer planets here. Pluto, right? Pluto, ruler of Scorpio in Aquarius, is part of the lunar eclipse today. And he wants us to look at Neptune. And then we had this full moon in Taurus card. And right now Uranus is in Taurus. So there's already Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, the three most outer planets. I feel like this eclipses are always monumental, but it's bringing in all of these outer planet energies, all of these big, monumental, overarching, long resonating energies. So I invite you to swallow the pill of reality and accept that you have the power to change it all. If you keep avoiding the root of the problem's never going to change. And none of the cards really said it. I got the first one did bring love into the situation. So it's okay to realize where you are the problem, but heal that with love, not with shame and guilt and embarrassment. Heal it with love. Aw, man, how did I not see that I was acting that way? Aw, man, that I am doing something that, maybe isn't the perfect way. Okay, I love you. You're capable of making this change, validate yourself a little bit. It's okay. It's okay. It's all about growth. If we're not growing, we're not living, right? Thank you, Charlotte, and thank you, Anne, for your donations. Gina as well. You guys have been super generous today. I really, really appreciate all of it. Thank you. I'll be back this week on Friday. Wow. Okay, so this week I'm Monday, Friday. Next week I'm Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so I'll be here a lot. On Friday this week, March 29th, we will be looking ahead at April 2024. So it's going to be a pretty big overview. I'm not going to go too much into detail. I prepare for these sessions the morning of, so I don't know what I'm going to talk about yet. But I'm planning on probably just giving you guys dates and keywords. That might be beneficial for you guys. Dates and keywords of what to look for, because April's going to be a hot month. Jacqui, will you be doing a solar eclipse live near April 8th? Greg, I'm going to be doing it on April 8th. Yeah, the solar eclipse that's happening on Monday, April 8th, 2 weeks from today. I do have a session that morning that will be talking about that. Party, 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 exactly. Samantha and Jacqui, thank you so much. Becca, on PayPal, how do we find you? In my link tree. I make it super easy. So in Insight Timer, go to my face, click on my face picture, and then that'll bring you to my teacher profile. You have to be on a mobile device to get to my About section where my link is. I have one link available on my whole teacher profile, which is my link tree. And then my link tree has all of my offerings, how to reach me, how to learn about me. Towards the bottom, there's a PayPal button. So thank you. Thank you, thank you. I really do. I don't know how else to say I appreciate your exchanges of energy. It really helps me spend the time and energy here to prepare for you guys. I really enjoy doing this work. But when I feel like I have to rush and scrounge to figure out other ways to survive, I don't have enough to give here. So eat $1, $2, guys, it goes a long way. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, Monica. What if you use the website and not the app? You can find me, let me type it. I put spaces because it'll take away the link. PayPal, Zelle, Venmo. I use my email address, lakesidelivinghealer@gmail.com. So if you'd like to exchange energy on Zelle, PayPal, or Venmo, you can always use lakesidelivinghealer@gmail.com. And you guys are the best. My sidekick Jacqui says, FYI, all of Jacqui's April classes are available on Insight Timer to add to your schedule. Jacqui is a scheduling queen, a data queen. I wrote Jacqui a remake of Dancing Queen last week, and I changed all the words to data queen. I think it's great. Should I record it? Should I look up the karaoke version of Dancing Queen and sing a song about Jacqui? Maybe that'll be my next YouTube. That'll be my next YouTube. Bonnie's just jealous. Bonnie, all these cards talked about jealousy. Where are you experiencing jealousy? Oh, you guys are the best. I love you. I'll see you on Friday. Enjoy this eclipse. Heal, love yourself, and the more you love yourself, the easier all of your relationships become. Sending love to all. Namaste. I know you have the ability to heal because I have the ability to heal, and we're all one. We're all the same. So, namaste. The light in me sees, honors, and appreciates the light within you. I hope that video was just as insightful for you as it was for all of us. Darla and I really appreciate you being here with me. Thank you for liking this video, sharing it with a friend who you think would benefit, and subscribing to my YouTube channel. Also, drop a comment and let us know what you got from this video. What was your biggest insight or takeaway? If you want to see what else I'm working on, click on my link tree. It's right underneath this YouTube video. We'll see you next time. Take care.